Acura has definitely seen better days. Check this out. They have just posted their April sales results, and their core models, or at least the core models of traditional gas cars that we are familiar with, are diminishing, including the Integra being down 31%, MDX down almost 40%, RDX down about 10%. What's happening at Acura? Today we're going to get into it just a little bit. We have sales results also for Honda that we're going to dig into. Honda being a much healthier brand seemingly right now than precision crafted performance, upscale performance brand of Honda, which is Acura. Honda's doing okay. They're doing quite well, right? They got hybrids, right? And they have just a more full lineup. And before we get into this, keep in mind that I just got back in the studio. I will be uploading Nissan Leaf coverage. I'll go and put the embargo date on for you guys, but I can't share that information quite yet. I have other Nissan and Infiniti things to share in the near future, probably summer. All right, is when I'm at liberty to share some of these things that I saw when I was out in California. I can't say anything else other than that. Stay tuned, you're gonna like it. But keep in mind, sales results, I'll have to make separate videos for Mazda, Subaru, Hyundai, and Kia. I just need to get this video out to you guys, so we're just gonna concise it or boil it down to just Honda and Acura right now. And I have something very exciting for you guys. Since the Prelude is coming back later this year, Honda has invited me out to California to drive the first 5 generations of the Prelude. Yeah, I have never driven any generation of Prelude. So that will be happening next month, I believe. So stay tuned for that. Let's get into the sales of Honda and Acura here in June and also for the full year so far in 2025. Look, Honda's up 7% in May and 8% year to date. So the CRV once again is the brand's best seller, and I will be driving the Trail Sport Hybrid in just a few weeks, so stay tuned for that coverage. And the hybrid sales of the CRV are over 50%. They can't meet the demand of the hybrid, that is for sure. And you know, with the RAV4 going full hybrid, I think you'll have some people who want, like Honda, for example, that you just have some people out there that don't want any electrification whatsoever. All right. And so Honda's still going to have the turbo CVT combo alongside of the hybrid, but I haven't been able to recommend that powertrain when the hybrid's been available, and it's so much better, more efficient, smoother, quieter. Yeah, it's just a better experience. Passport, guys, remember I just went to Puerto Rico to drive the new Passport. Sales broke an all-time record in May, up 74%. And of course, the Trail Sport models make up the vast majority. The RTL is the only non-Trail Sport variant of it. So anyways, HRV posted 13,000 sales, Prologue 2,000, Odyssey, long live the minivan. I told Nissan this week, I'm like, hey, I know it might be too late, or you know, maybe my prayers are just not going to be heard or ever sent to Japan, but bring the El Grande back to America, Nissan. Don't let the Odyssey, Sienna, and Carnival just have the market to themselves. The market's growing for the minivan segment. It's really, really hot. People are waking up. People are waking up that sliding doors and endless amounts of cargo capacity and endless amounts of people room and a very efficient packaging with good efficiency. Like the minivan's just so good. You guys know. I'll praise minivans to the day I die. Are they boring to drive? Not the Odyssey. The Odyssey is actually fun to drive compared to all the other competitors. All right. Ridgeline. Sales were up in May for the Ridgeline. And there's all sorts of rumors going on about the Ridgeline. Most of the rumors is that it might not get greenlit for a new generation, which would be really sad. We've been waiting for Honda's large platform hybrids, and they finally confirmed it. It's coming, I think, in 2027. And the Ridgeline redesign would be a prime candidate, as well as all of them. I mean, the Pilot, the Odyssey, the Passport, and the Ridgeline. They're all prime candidates for robust, efficient, strong hybrids in their large platform vehicles. So it would just be a shame if the Ridgeline got canceled and never saw the hybrid glory of these large platform vehicles. So Acura SUV sales were up 6% in May, but keep in mind that's supplemented by the new ADX that's built in Mexico, which is now subject to 25% tariffs. The MDX, well, those sales are down. RDX sales are down. ZDX is honestly kind of as well as the ADX, they're carrying the Acura brand right now. The new ADX, it's a good luxury crossover, but it doesn't make sense as an Acura, in my opinion, because it doesn't have precision crafted performance. It handles well, I'd say it brakes pretty well, but from the powertrain perspective, what you would expect from a Honda, it is so slow. Now, I need to test it back home to verify at sea level because I tested it through the mountains in California, so I don't know for sure. But I want to get it back home so I can verify just how slow. Maybe it's not as slow as I got. Like I was like 9.5 seconds 0 to 60 or something. It was crazy slow. I might have to fact check myself on the 0 to 60, but it was really slow. All right, and it's just like I'm just going to spend a little bit more money and get an RDX because it actually has a fun engine. The 10-speed's good in it. And it's not any like the ADX isn't really any more efficient than that much more efficient than an RDX. So it just costs a little less. Now, Acura still continues to praise the success of the Integra. But keep in mind, even though they're saying it has 40% retail market share, I just drove a vehicle that's better than the Integra, as long as you don't want a manual. And that is the new A3/S3. All right. Is the S3 better than the Type S? In my opinion, no. Is it faster in a straight line? Of course. Is it a faster around a track? I'd like to see a race, but I guess maybe that's what the RS3 is for. So like the RS3 all-wheel drive, you can't even get all-wheel driving on the Integra. Like, and I know that the A3 is only a sedan, I believe, in the United States, which is a huge shame. And that's one benefit of the Integra over the A3. But the A3, it was pretty darn solid for an entry-level, sporty, small vehicle. And it has a 7-speed dual clutch, which is like, you can't even compare that to the CVT that comes in the Integra automatics. Sorry, Integra for me as an enthusiast has to be manual. Get the Type S in the manual. So A-Spec Advance with the manual or the Type S. All right, all the other grades as an enthusiast, like, and that's why the ADX is now available. It's like, well, if you're not an enthusiast, you don't care about the driving experience that much, just get an ADX. It's essentially an Integra. You can get all-wheel drive on it in a higher seating package. Like the ADX makes sense to have a crossover in today's market, but a CVT is still a hard pill to swallow for Acura, and I don't think that's helping them right now. But again, there's just so many other factors outside of the CVT hampering them. All right, so let's get into the individual sales here. The Honda Accord continues to slip. You got to keep in mind, I got to preface this. The Accord, the TLX, the Integra are all in Marysville, Ohio. I toured this plant. It's still being completely reworked to make way for those BEVs, the 0 Series EVs, which look amazing. I mean, the 0 Series SUV looks incredible. And then the saloon, like the electric Lamborghini Countach sort of thing. And with the mega casting that they have going on with the battery packs at the Anna engine plant, like I'm really excited for the 0 Series EVs. There's no doubt about it. And I think Honda has a lot of room to grow with EVs. But they have essentially put on pause their second EV plant that they were building in Canada. I think there's a 2-year pause on it right now just because of political issues, obviously. So with that being said, keep in mind the Accord sales, the Integra sales, the TLX sales are going to be bad. They're not even like mediocre. No, they're bad. The sales are in the gutter. Now the Accord is kind of bottomed out in terms of sales volume. I don't think it's going to get much lower than this. All right, at least on a month to month at this point. Yearly, you can still see them down about 18%. Civic's hanging in there, up 7% on the month. It's about neutral in the year. Oh, and I forgot that Honda does break out now, the full hybrid EV sales. So it's just their hybrids. Anyways, the Accord, it's like I said, it's kind of flatlined. It's not going to get much lower, and it's been neutral throughout the year. Interesting. So the Accord hybrid has maintained its volume, but when you factor in the gasoline turbo models, the Accord's down almost 20% this year. So the hybrid's staying strong, and it seems the Accord demand for the non-hybrid is terrible. Just from looking at the numbers here, you got to keep in mind the Camry is full hybrid now, and that's wreaking havoc, I'm sure, on Accord sales, or maybe not. I don't know. I think Accord's issue is mainly the Marysville auto plant and its questionable looks. The Civic, though, why get an Accord when the Civic is more fun to drive? It's plenty room. Guys, the Civic is as big as like an Accord was 2 generations ago. Like the Civic is plenty big. All right. And the hybrid sales, look at the Civic hybrid. They've sold 37,000 units this year, and it is outpacing the Accord hybrid. You got to keep in mind the Civic hybrid is not built where the Accord hybrid is. The Civic hybrid is split between Indiana and their plant in Alliston, Ontario, in Canada. So, all right, CRV. Look at the hybrid growth here. It's up 28% for the CRV, but they've kind of flatlined in April. So maybe they're running into a cap there. So let's get into the Odyssey. It's up 14% on the month. I'm a big fan of the Odyssey. You guys know it is the most enjoyable minivan to drive by far. It is a luxury machine. It is more luxurious than every Acura, in my opinion, besides the MDX Type S. All right. And I stand by that. Odyssey up 25% on the year. Passport just surging. The new design is hot. I have not seen one on the streets yet, which I'm kind of surprised. I see just about everything. It's only a matter of time before I see the new Passports on the road down here full of soccer moms. But I love the new Passport. I need more time with it, obviously, because I only drove it on low speed roads or off road or beach roads or on the beach in Puerto Rico. So I need more time with this Passport, but at least from the looks department, they nailed it. And the usability on the inside. So it's a very functional and aesthetically pleasing vehicle. Pilot down 10% in the month. I think a lot of Pilot people are going to the now that the Passport's updated. You might see some Pilot sales go down, and maybe Honda. Remember, the Pilot, the Passport, the Odyssey, the Ridgeline, they're all built in Lincoln, Alabama, if I remember right. And so if maybe Honda is able to say, oh, shoot, we need to increase Passport to address the market needs, maybe they reduce Pilot volume, all right, because they're probably production capped down there. All right, but maybe they can shift things around to favor one model over the other. Prologue. If we want to talk about EVs, well, these are the short-term EVs. Honda will replace this EV. I don't know when exactly, but when that electric SUV, 0 Series SUV comes out for Honda, it's going to blow this Prologue away. That's coming out next year, 2026. Speaking of Honda 0 Series EVs, I wanted to bring this up. Over at Jalopnik, Honda is sponsoring the 2028 LA Olympics and Team USA. They're going to have Moto Compactos there. I have one. And the next Acura or Honda review, I'll try to incorporate the Moto Compacto into it. They're going to have the Honda 0 Series there. They're going to have the new RSX coupe crossover EV for Acura, which is essentially a 0 Series EV. It's going to be using the Osmo OS, things like that. So as well as the mega casting. So I just wanted to share that. Unlike Toyota's been typically sponsoring Team USA in the Olympics for a long time, and now Honda's picking up the slack. We got to keep in mind, Honda's headquarters is in Torrance, essentially just outside of downtown LA. And what better way to advertise in their own backyard for their Olympics, right? It makes sense. All right. So yeah, the Prologue is selling a lot. 13,500 for the year so far, and they're selling over 2,000 a month. Ridgeline is up 150% for the month. They sold 4,200 units. It's up 15% for the year. Why is that? I have no idea. Maybe people are like, I don't want the Tacoma with the 4-cylinder, or I don't want the Chevy with the 4-cylinder, or etc. Like, I want to get a V6 in a pickup truck. Simple as that. Maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. Maybe it's some of that. The Ridgeline's absolutely fine. It drives well for a truck because it's not a truck. It handles like a Passport kind of. But yeah, the Ridgeline, yeah, if you need a V6 truck, There's nothing wrong with the Ridgeline. It's just extraordinarily vanilla, but it gets the job done. Acura Integra. All right, guys, we're recircling. We started this video talking about the Integra being down 26% on the year, minus 31% on the month, and even worse on a daily selling rate basis. The Integra, is it due to the lack of demand? I think that's possible. Is it due to the production shortages and stoppages and whatnot because of the 0 Series EV production line ramp up? Yeah, I think that's the big one. The TLX, though, the TLX, like the Accord, has kind of hit rock bottom. All right, it's down 21% on the year, but look, they're up 29% on the month. But look, look how little the TLX is selling. It's such low volume. And I've told you guys on the channel that the TLX is likely to get canceled by the end of this year. So maybe this is one last hurrah for the TLX. Not quite sure. I will be sad when it gets discontinued, but it came out as a compromised product. The Type S is phenomenal. It looks amazing, but it's just so small inside, and it does get fairly expensive. And I'd rather just have an Integra manual, to be honest. The ADX, we're moving on to this new crossover. I'll call it a luxury crossover with sporty looks and sporty handling. That's about it. You know, it's really cozy, really comfortable, but the engine, like I said, is a letdown, and the transmission a letdown in the ADX. It's just so slow. Shouldn't be this slow for the class that it's in. And the fuel economy is not good to boot, that I remember. I got to test it a little bit more. So ADX, look how they've sold 2,700 units so far this year. They sold 1,500 in the month of April. And it's just, this one is, I totally glossed over the HRV earlier. I apologize, because the HRV and the ADX are both built in the Celaya plant down in Mexico. So both are now subject to 25% tariffs. Now the prices have not increased, I don't believe, yet on these models. Now, the CRV pricing just came out, and it went up quite a bit. You got to keep in mind the CRV is also co-developed in Canada as well as Indiana here stateside. But the HRV and the ADX sales volume, actually, it doesn't surprise me that volume is down a little bit on the HRV, as Acura needs this vehicle more than Honda needs the HRV. This ADX, Acura needs every lifeline they can get at this point. And they're getting it from the ZDX. But the problem with the ZDX, guys, even though the ZDX has sold 9,000 units so far this year, it's up 2,000% on the month of April. And guys, if I apologize, if I've been saying the month of April this whole time, I've been meaning the month of May. I mean, I can't keep up. I just moved to my first house. So like timelines, and I literally took a red eye last night from the Nissan event to get home this morning to be with the family, but also so I can start working. Anyways, the ZDX, guys, they're selling a lot of these things, almost as much as the Prologue. And the addressable market for the Honda division is much smaller than the Acura division. So how is the ZDX selling almost as much as the Prologue? Well, we're going to go over to electric. Acura is offering a $30,000 lease cash incentive on the ZDX in some states, making it more affordable than a CRV hybrid. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. I know we're probably talking about, the A-Spec, but the A-Spec still has tons of power. You can get all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. You're getting a $60,000 EV lease for $300 a month, maybe a little bit more if you don't. I never recommend putting money down on a lease, ever. All right. So yeah, your payment's going to be more than $300, but for a $60,000 luxury car, for your price to be that low on a monthly payment, of course, it's going to depend on what state you're in, what kind of incentives you can, squeeze out of your local government. But Honda and Acura are moving these things with bleeding incentives. They're not making money on them. Nowhere close. They're losing money on them, but why? Like, why are they incentivizing them so much? Well, they need to move them, first of all. And why is the sales volume so high? Well, both of these vehicles are built by General Motors. And I don't know, it wouldn't surprise me if Honda and Acura said, hey, we need you, General Motors, to build these EVs for us until we get ours online, which is 100% happening. But my theory is that Honda's like, yeah, we need this many built for us so we can avoid all the fines that we would be facing for not having better fleet fuel economy ratings. All right. So if you don't have enough hybrids or enough EVs, especially in certain states, or even for the United States government, EPA, like you're going to get hammered in fines. So Honda's like, we would rather pay to move our cars to get them out on the market into the hands of customers than pay the government and not have EVs. All right. So that's my theory on it. Believe what you want, but they're not like $30,000 lease cash. Yeah. Like for example, at Cars Direct, Prologues already have a $16,500 discount. Now, don't buy this thing. Don't buy it, meaning don't finance it. Only lease these EVs so you can get that EV tax credit while it's still available. All right, and so let's finish up with the MDX. I don't know what's going on with it. They just refreshed the MDX. It's not. Look at the sales volume. Why is it down 40%? The MDX. I mean, I'll be honest. I've driven the MDX and the MDX Type S. I really like the Type S, and I don't really enjoy for a luxury vehicle the MDX with the standard V6. Like it feels like a completely different vehicle. It doesn't feel nearly as premium. There's more vibrations. It's louder. It's buzzier. It's not like the V6 is not smooth in it. And I don't know why, because that same V6 is in the Odyssey and it's pure butter. It's like Acura's like, yeah, we want loud engines because we're precision crafted performance. It's like, not in an MDX. That's what the Type S is for. But the normal MDX, like it should be a Volt, and it's too loud. It's too buzzy. It's not enjoyable of a luxury car experience. There's so many other luxury 3-rows I'd rather have. I can't believe I'm saying them because a few years ago I thought the MDX was one of the best picks of the bunch, and now I'd rather have a TX hybrid over it. I'd rather have a GV80. I think I'd even rather have. Ooh, it's tough. I would have to depend on the day and what kind of deal I'm getting. But the refresh QX60 looks amazing and it drives better than the MDX for smoothness and comfort and quietness. The MDX just doesn't have that luxury touch. It's just strange, and I don't know why the sales are down so much. Is it because there are other options out there that are better now? I'm not quite sure. Is it because there's not a hybrid or there's not enough standard performance on it or standard luxury on it? I'm not quite sure. All right. But if I had to pick between an MDX, non-Type S, and a Passport, assuming you don't need 3 rows of seats, I'd be getting the Passport and saving a whole lot of money. That's just me. RDX. RDX is like 2 years overdue for a refresh. The RDX needed a hybrid, never got it. Needed a Type S, never got it. And it's just kind of withering on the vine a bit. And it's just sad because the RDX was supposed to be like, I mean, it should have passed the MDX in terms of sales. It just never did. It's close. If we look at total sales this year, it's within like 3,000 units or pretty close. But it should be closer to the MDX, if not outselling it, in my opinion. But now that they have the ADX, I don't know. Like, do they have too many crossovers with the ZDX, RDX, MDX, ADX? Is there not enough differentiation between those products? Obviously, the ZDX is electric. I don't know. I'll see you guys in the comments. I want Acura to kick butt. And right now, they're just in a really weird spot with their production being siphoned away for the Integra and the TLX. CVTs and their entry-level models, like, that's okay for a Nissan Kicks. It's not okay to have a CVT and an Acura. And I'll see you guys in the comments about that. I'm sure most of you would agree with that. It's not a precision crafted performance experience with a CVT. So with that being said, am I worried for Acura? And the answer is not for the longevity of the brand. No, not whatsoever. I think Honda will sprinkle in their hybrids into the Acura lineup, and that's going to help immensely. And their EVs are going to be pretty good, but so are Honda's hybrids, and so are Honda's EVs going to be really, really good. And that's the issue nowadays, is that the mainstream has gotten so good, not just with Honda, but I would say with Toyota and Lexus as well, that the gaps aren't there to justify the prices anymore. When you have such huge parts sharing, powertrain sharing, more so than it seems like ever before. And yeah, I think what I'm worried for Acura the most in the near term is the dealers, and just not having the sales volume on some of the products that they would like. But if you just look at pure volume here, they're up. Their Acura's up 7% this year, and only minus 0.4% for the month. But they are, they're pushing a ton of EVs at a loss. The dealers potentially. Actually, I don't know. It's more like Honda corporate losing that money with the lease incentives, and the ADX is going to do well for them. ADX is here to kind of like give the dealers and Acura a big boost. But I'm really worried when their core products, the Integra, the MDX, the RDX, they're all seeing massive drops. And when your core products are not strong, that's not good. I'm going to end it there. It's been a very long-winded video. So that's why I have to make separate sales videos on these companies. I've just posted their sales numbers from Mazda, Subaru, Hyundai, and Kia. There might be others out there, but those are the main ones that are easy to find for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day and peace.